Phil Hewlett from the Kfi 24-hour newsroom. Everything is back to relative normal at LAX after all runways and terminals had to be shut down and hundreds of people self-evacuated onto the tarmac. Police detained 2 people after reports of a fight last night at the airport involving somebody who reportedly yelled the word gun. Facebook is still Facebook, but the umbrella company that runs it, Instagram, WhatsApp, and Oculus, will be known as Meta. CEO Mark Zuckerberg announced the rebranding on Thursday. The future of Chess Park on the Santa Monica Boardwalk is in jeopardy because of ongoing issues with homelessness, drug use, and prostitution. The park was once a popular spot for chess matches, but the tabletop chess boards are now covered in graffiti and trash. Southland weather from KFI. Sunny today with highs in the mid to upper 80s inland, low 70s to beaches. Your weekend will cool into the 60s. Right now, it is 61 in Santa Ana, Lake Forest 63, Long Beach 61, and in Granada Hills 63 degrees. We lead local. From the KFI 24-hour newsroom, I'm Phil Hewlett.
In Fountain Valley, we have a full freeway closure. This is off the 405 northbound from Euclid to Brookhurst. All lanes are going to be shut down for road work until 5. And in North Hollywood, we have a work zone that's on the 170 southbound from Victory to Riverside Drive. Bright Lane, that's going to be shut down for road work until 5. Long Beach, this is on the 405 northbound right before the 710. We have a crash taken up the right and left lane. You drive slow from Pacific. KFI and the Sky helps get you there faster. I'm Brian Van.
Does CBD work? Over 90% of doctors said their patients have used CBD to treat health conditions. When 9 out of 10 patients use CBD, that speaks volumes for how safe and effective CBD can be. My wife gets the full spectrum CBD, calms her down. She loves it. I also love it. Here's what patients tell their doctors they love about CBD. 90% of CB Distillery customers said they sleep better with CBD. 80% of customers said CBD helps with discomfort after physical activity. And if you're looking for a little peace of mind and calm these days, you'd be wise to explore CBD. If you haven't discovered the powers of CBD, you're missing out. Go to cbdistillery.com where you order online with no prescription required. And enter Tim in the promo code for 20% off. That's right, enter Tim at cbdistillery.com for 20% off. cbdistillery.com. Not available in Idaho, Iowa, or South Dakota.
Why would a plumber just tell me what it costs to unclog my drain over the phone? Is it that complicated?
No, it's not. It makes no sense at all. They obviously have a price.
Whoa, you've got a nice aroma. Who are you?
Mike Diamond, the smell good plumber.
Will you tell me how much to unclog my drain?
$99.
Then you haven't seen it.
Don't need to. Doesn't matter if it's a kitchen sink or a mainline sewer stoppage. The smell good plumbers at Mike Diamond will unclog almost any drain for $99.
Almost.
Yeah, there are a few exceptions, but you can read all about them on our website before you call. Just go to thesmellgoodplumber.com.
Wow, you're like up front and everything. I just called a guy named Bubba who wouldn't tell me anything.
No Bubba's here, ma'am. Just professional plumbers who show up on time, smell good, and unclog drains for $99. Call us, 1-800-446-MIKE. Contractor license number 39917.
Should P17 get the COVID-19 vaccine?
Is it safe for my daughter?
Have they been thoroughly tested?
Will my grandson be okay if he gets vaccinated? He's still developing.
The short answer to all these questions? Yes. The COVID-19 vaccine is proven to be safe and effective for ages 12 and up. Feeling good about the fact? Visit myturn.ca.gov today to schedule a vaccination appointment or find a walk-in clinic near you. Brought to you by the California Department of Public Health.
Contractor license 1047781. Duck and Goodrich taught Kenny to do things the right way, not the easy way. And now, every ghetto technician has a digital assistant named Duncan. Digital Duncan is a genius, just like his namesake. Back during the Cold War, the U.S. government came to my dad and said, "We need you to build a giant freezer at the test site and bring it down to 50 degrees below zero." They wanted to make sure their nuclear triggers would function if they had to send warheads to Russia during the wintertime. So Dad designed a cascade system that used weird gases like argon and CO2 instead of freon. He and I got that system down to 50 degrees below zero in the Nevada desert in the summertime. When the U.S. government needs a genius solution, they ask Duncan Goodrich. And when your ghetto technician needs a genius solution, they ask Digital Something. Gallo's been awarded 114 patents for cool stuff we've invented, and we believe number 115 is on the way. Gallo, G-O-E-G-T-L, will keep you cool, but it's hard to spell.
KFI AM 640.
Newborn baby cry, oh, suddenly,
From the gateway to the west, this is Coast to Coast AM with George Norrie. Sung only by Elvis Presley, folks. Did a great job. ParanormalDate.com, cruising along, 639 now. That's the magic number. They hit 119,000 signed up members, and it's free to sign up. Give it a try at ParanormalDate.com. And if you're over 60, what do we have, Tommy?
Well, you know, sometimes your heart desires a person who's a bit more mature, and we've got you covered there, too, with ParanormalDate.com/seniors for those that are 60 plus. So check it out. You can have some fun. Seniors 60 plus are waiting for you at ParanormalDate.com/seniors.
At ParanormalDate.com, you meet the most fantastic people.
Hi, I'm Tom.
Hi, I'm Jennifer. What brings you here?
Yeah, I'm here to meet someone who understands me.
How so?
Well, I'm into UFOs, ghosts, aliens, Bigfoot, conspiracy theories, the paranormal, that kind of stuff. But can't seem to find anyone who gets it.
Oh, nice to meet you, Tom. I gotta go.
Okay, guess that's not your cup of tea. You sure?
Very. Good luck with that.
I can't meet anyone when I'm out, and I really can't find a website for my unique interests. What is one to do?
Have you thought about ParanormalDate.com?
What? Who are you?
I'm a paranormal matchmaker, and it's ParanormalDate.com. It's a website for people looking for people like them. Stuff you like, remember?
Interesting. I'll give it a try.
Well, let's try this again.
Hi, I'm Tom.
Hey, I'm Deb. Your profile on ParanormalDate.com looks very interesting. So you really saw a UFO?
Well, yeah. It was so intense, but not as intense as meeting you.
You're an alien chasing flirt, but I kind of like it.
Wow, this ParanormalDate.com thing really works.
Maybe ParanormalDate.com is for you. People with an interest in things they hear on George's show find their match daily. So if you're looking for that special someone with an interest in UFOs, ghosts, aliens, Bigfoot, conspiracy theories, and, of course, the paranormal, come to the dating site inspired by George Norrie. It's always free to search, and if you decide to upgrade to our amazing new features, use promo code GEORGE for a great discount. ParanormalDate.com. You are not alone.
We got a great feeling story. Carnivora in the house. One of those botanicals that is so absolutely so amazing. David, you're a guy that has overcome severe issues. How do you go
the light bulb went on, and I started to research. I found out it's Ronald Reagan's life. Yeah, it's a wonderful thing that is bringing me back, and it's been almost 8 years now.
How did you get it? Did you take the liquid? Did you take the capsule?
I was going through the capsules like I couldn't get enough. It made me feel so much better.
How soon after you began taking the capsules, you kind of felt this was going to be a good thing?
6 months, 8 months. I can only tell you one thing. The product works. And it not only works in one way, it works in a whole bunch of different ways because it gives me energy, it gives me vitality, it's giving me my health.
So did you have tests to validate it? And if so, did you then have tests afterwards for the doctors gave you a clean bill?
I am just a better way, kind of where I have built everything back into my body. It's taken a while, but you know what? It's back there, and I feel it. I can't say enough.
George here. You heard it here first, folks. Many more to come. Call 1-866-836-8735. That's 1-866-836-8735. Or visit carnivora.com. That's CARNIVORA.com. Call now.
Is your current home loan the right fit for you? Their historic low rates may be a great reason to refinance, but when matched with an expertly chosen loan from Loan Depot, you could be saving money and paying more towards the bottom line. Call a Loan Depot loan officer and ask about our 27-year Smart Term loan or our 10-year ARM loan. Get a great rate matched with a great loan by calling 866-888-LOAN or visit LoanDepot.com. At Loan Depot, home means everything. Rates are subject to change. Call for cost information and conditions. Equal housing opportunity. NMLS number 174457. Licensed in all 50 states.
And welcome back to Coast. George Norrie with you along with Cheryl Jones. We will take calls with Cheryl next hour, by the way. We'll call them Conversations with Cheryl. And we do it in an open line format so you can talk to her about ghosts, UFOs, this story topic tonight about the Mothman, which is an incredible story, Cheryl, and I'll let you get into part two.
Yes, and we'd love to hear their stories if they've had any encounters with such creatures. George, the second segment is incredible. In this part of the interview, we talk about another aspect of Margie K's wide-ranging skills and abilities to pull all the pieces of a case together, whether it's about UFOs, Mothman, the alien connection, cryptid creatures, or any other more common unsolved mysteries. As an intuitive, psychic, and licensed private investigator, Margie also uses remote viewing on some investigations, paranormal and otherwise, and has worked with law enforcement to assist in solving numerous missing person, homicide, and theft cases. In this segment, Margie shares some of her insight into how she uses remote viewing with some amazing stories. Listen now to the second part of our conversation.
I'd like to switch gears here now and talk about another aspect of your phenomenal investigation work, remote viewing. How did you discover remote viewing, Margie, or did remote viewing discover you?
I think that I discovered it as after many years of working as a psychic and doing reading for people. I had one case come in from one of my clients, and she asked me to help her find her niece who was missing. And I tried to just think about how I could do this while talking to her on the phone. And all of a sudden, I just saw this line come out of my solar plexus, and all of a sudden, I was standing on a street corner, and I looked up, and I saw two street signs, and I said, "Does this have any meaning to you with these two streets?" And she says, "Yes, that's her bus stop." And I said, "Well, I think I'm onto something here." And I just followed this line a couple of houses down, and I saw this glow around this particular house. So I knew that I was in the right place. And then this line floated up and over the house and went over to a shed in the back. And I went down into the shed, and at that time I had no idea how I was doing this. But I could see this girl. She was asleep, and she was tied up. And then I backed up, and I went into the house, and I could see a woman and two men in the house sitting at their chairs and a couch. They're all drinking beer, and they were talking about how they had just sold this girl to a group that was taking her out the next morning to be sold into white slavery. And so I'm telling the client this information, and I even gave her the address of the house. The client said she was going to call back the detective, and that they had already actually been to that house because they suspected it, because the woman involved was 30 years old, and she had made friends with this 14-year-old, and they thought that was very odd. So she called up the detective, and said, "I'm going to go back there." And he said, "I wish you wouldn't." He said, "I'm going anyway with or without you." And so he went with her, and they had not looked in the shed at their first visit. They had only spoken to the people in the house. They went to the back to tell the girl and she was safe. So that was my very first experience with remote viewing. And then I just worked on that and developed that over the years into something that I can use on a daily basis whenever I want.
That's an amazing story. How many missing persons, homicide, and theft cases have you assisted officials in investigating over the years, and what's been the most difficult one you've worked on?
I've worked on over 60 cases for law enforcement, private investigators, and individuals. and it's usually very successful. Did not have success with 2 out of those cases, and I think I know why, but at any rate, the most difficult one I did was a case where there was a 17-year-old girl missing, and her stepfather was suspected of something. They found blood in the house, but no body and no murder weapon. And I followed the girl, and I found that this man had actually killed her and then chopped her up into pieces. And it was awful. And it was one of my first cases that I worked on. But after that, I developed the ability to stay emotionally detached from these cases. So now I simply view the event and report it, and I don't get emotionally involved in it.
You have to do that. So how do you go about resisting becoming emotionally involved and keep from being affected negatively when you're working on such a case?
Well, I like to work with law enforcement only rather than the family, because the family is extremely emotional, and I pick up on that. There are cases, though, where the family can only talk to me because law enforcement is not going to be open to that. So, what I do is I just put a block around myself. I would just meditate for a minute and put a block around myself in order to be able to communicate with the family about it, or in one case, a close friend. And that way I can get the work done, because otherwise I wouldn't be able to do it.
Amazing. Do you still do remote viewing of this type for other investigators or other people?
Yes, I do. And I help other paranormal investigators. I help law enforcement, help anybody who asks for it.
Margie, do you use remote viewing when you're doing a UFO or paranormal investigation with the mysterious creatures, as we talked about earlier?
I sure do. I do all of the standard investigative work first, all the scientific work first, and then I will probably employ remote viewing in order to see what I can see, to see what happened, see what type of scenes might have been involved, see what they look like, and it's very helpful. And it's also accurate. The witnesses will, if I know the person, I will tell them I'm remote viewing. If I don't know the person, I won't. I just keep the notes in my report.
Could you remote view through anyone, even if they were unaware that you were remote viewing through them?
Well, I don't remote view someone without their permission, but I will remote view an event that may have occurred. So if somebody says, I saw a Mothman in my backyard, I will just look at that to see if there was a Mothman in the backyard. But I don't remote view the person, it's a matter of ethics.
How does the Oz Interdimensional Communication Institute fit into all of this?
Well, this is an organization that I started in order to further study remote viewing and interdimensional communication, how that works. We want to know, we want to do testing, and we've already started doing testing. I have several people who have taken my remote viewing course and who were outstanding students. So I have them involved in these weekly sessions that we do in order to test ourselves. And so far it has been extremely fruitful and just evidence that this works and that anybody can do it. Anybody can learn how to do it. And so that's why we basically do the Institute, and also why I wrote the remote viewing workbook and do classes.
What's different, Margie, about your technique of remote viewing?
Well, my technique is not CRT or controlled remote viewing that most people know about. This is my technique that I developed, where I send my etheric body out to a place, and there's several different methods, ways of doing that, and getting the information. It's very quick. It's easy to do once you learn how to access the psychic center of your brain, and it's very efficient. And I believe that, this is super easy for me, and anybody can learn how to do it.
Anybody.
Yes, we all have the same physiology, so yes, absolutely.
Well, that's good to know. So when you use this technique to help people learn how to remote view, can you give us an idea of how you go about it, what to expect?
Well, the first thing I tell people is that in order to do this, you have to be able to meditate. And that is how you access the psychic center of the brain. You've got to get yourself in a very relaxed state. It's a very light trance state. And the only way to do that is to practice meditation, preferably every day. And one way to cheat with that is to listen to a meditation tape. And that music will get you calmed down and get you in that state of mind.
Don't do it now.
That's a very, very good point there. So what would you consider to be the main key to the success with remote viewing using that approach?
Well, the main key is to be disciplined enough to practice meditation every day and practice remote viewing every day, whether it's finding in a lost article or discovering what is wrong with a vehicle, something like that. If you practice that every day, you will keep sharp. It's just like being a musician or an artist. The more you practice it, the better you get.
Can remote viewing be beneficial to anyone?
Oh, I think so. You could use it for a lot of things. You could find your lost wedding ring, which is something I've done for a lot of people. Find your lost keys, your lost cat, things like that. And like I said earlier, vehicles. I do remote viewing on one of our vehicles for our business. If there's something wrong and no one can figure it out, I will pinpoint where it is and maybe what it is, but I'll at least get the spot where it is so that somebody else can go in there. And I've been 100% accurate on that. And my husband actually called me a couple of times when he was getting ready to, say, drill into a fireplace to find a gas line, and he didn't have any other way of knowing where that gas line was, and he certainly didn't want to hit it. So he would call me on the phone, put his drill where he was going to drill in, and then ask me where he should move the drill. And I would tell him, move it left or right or whatever, and then he would go in and he would miss the gas line. So it comes in handy.
Yes, and if you lose your car in the parking lot, I suppose that would be helpful then, too.
Oh, sure, and I've used it that way myself, yes.
Margie, how can people contact you and find out more about your work, your books, and your remote viewing courses?
All they need to do is go to my website at margiekay.com, margiekay.com, and I've got links to everything there.
So your book, Winged Aliens, will be coming out soon?
It sure will, as soon as possible.
And then refresh for us the books that you have available.
The Sonoma County Phenomena, the Fast Movers, Evidence for High-Speed UFOs, UAPs, the Kansas City UFO Flap, Gateway to the Dead, on to Independence, Missouri, and there are others.
Margie, thank you so much for being with us tonight and updating us on everything that's going on in the show me state of Missouri and the hotspot of Kansas City, the mysterious creatures that are being reported, and all of your fabulous work in remote viewing. Thank you for being here.
Well, thank you so much, Cheryl. It's been a pleasure.
Quite a person.
Hey, quite a person, George. There you have it. I mean, quite a well-rounded investigator.
Well, I got to tell you, she's got, 14 books out there? So she's been all over the place.
Absolutely. The Fast Movers is one of them, Evidence of High-Speed UFOs, UAPs, the Kansas City UFO Flap, and a host of others, all of them on her site. And the book Winged Aliens is already out, and it is amazing how she's able to use all of those skills across the board on cases regardless of the nature of them. And back to the cryptid creatures, it is interesting that she thinks that area there in the Kansas City area with the Missouri River could be a breeding ground for the colonies of Batman or Mothman or of those creatures, since they seem to be attracted to water, as the legends go. And it's interesting that she is investigating the cross-reference point of UFOs and the winged aliens and humanoids, too. And that's all on that map. It's really pretty compelling.
Well, she even brought up St. Louis. I got to go hunting for this thing.
Yes, you take a please, so you could take that for us and have something to show us? That's the problem. It's always been a problem with UFOs and all paranormal events and encounters. People haven't had cameras along with them, but now people are becoming more aware, and they have cameras available with them generally. And so maybe in the future we'll be seeing more and more of the evidence.
Do people still have these catastrophes occur when there are Mothman sightings, do you know?
That seems to be something that is still reported. You know, there have been several, 9/11. There have been several events where there were sightings, or at least reports of sightings, in advance of an impending disaster. So that is an oddity, a real curiosity that investigators look at.
Yeah, it sure is. And, you know, when 46 people died in that bridge collapse back in 1967, people were convinced that Mothman had something to do with it.
That's absolutely correct. I know if I saw one, I would probably, run for the hills.
Well, here's my question. Does it have something to do with the event, or does it have the ability to foretell the event and it's there as a witness?
Well, that's a good question. Who knows the answer to that? I wish we had the answer. And that's where all of the continuing investigation and research on all of these reports is, and I think people like Margie are really very, very important because they take these stories seriously. And they really, really bear down and try to get to the bottom of everything as much as you can. So eventually maybe we'll have a lot more answers.
Cheryl Jones with us. We're going to take phone calls with Cheryl next hour. We call it basically Conversations with Cheryl in an open line format. So if you want to talk about the topic she's reporting on tonight, jump on board. If you want to talk about things she's reported on in the past, jump on board. And, of course, there'll be many more stories she's investigating. By the way, you're going to be live with us on Thanksgiving night, right?
Yes, I am, George, and I do want to mention we have a surprise coming up for you in the next hour.
Oh, you do?
A little surprise. Yes.
Well, you know I love surprises.
I hope so.
All right, yeah, Tom is back in Los Angeles yelling in my ear saying, "You're going to love this surprise. You're going to love this surprise."
Oh, Tom knows about it, too?
He may. We'll be back.
Find out more about tonight's guest. Log on to coasttocoastam.com.
We're going to be fine.
That doesn't sound like you're going to be fine.
We're going to be fine.
The Tim Conway Jr. Show.
It sounds like it's her last words.
Weeknights at 6 on KFI.
We've all heard that you've got the right to remain silent, but have you ever really thought about what that means? It's the police literally telling you to shut up. I'm attorney Darren Cavanoki from 1-800-NO-CUP. If you're in custody and everything you say can and definitely will be used against you, remain silent and just shut up. Just make your one phone call to 1-800-NO-CUP, the leader in criminal defense. 1-800-NO-CUP, because no one looks good in handcuffs, unless you're into that sort of thing. 1-800-NO-CUP.
Could she continue to get the COVID-19 vaccine?
Is it safe for my daughter?
Have they been thoroughly tested?
Will my grandson be okay if he gets vaccinated? He's still developing.
The short answer to all these questions? Yes. The COVID-19 vaccine is proven to be safe and effective for ages 12 and up. Feeling good about the facts? Visit myturn.ca.gov today to schedule a vaccination appointment or find a walk-in clinic near you. Brought to you by the California Department of Public Health.
We survived winter in Siberia, my mother told me, by literally eating dirt. Hello, I'm John Aquarian, owner of River Hill Plumbing. I can't imagine living like that. The dirt, my mom told me, had nutrients. We are so fortunate to live in the world's richest country, but every day children go hungry. At River Hill Plumbing, we want to help. So we're bringing back our Hero Health program. Before COVID-19, we fed the homeless, adopted families, and cleaned the